Adam Schefter broke the news. He joins us now. Adam, why do the Jets feel Robert Saleh is the answer?
Kevin, I think they loved his energy. They loved his outlook. They loved his perspective. I think they loved everything about what he would bring to this particular job. They sat down, and from the time they sat down with him, they were enamored with the energy, the spunk, the intelligence that he would bring to that job. His players loved him in San Francisco. His players loved him in Houston when he was there. You saw after the Jets announced the agreement with him on Thursday night, Richard Sherman said the New York Jets got themselves a great one. Those are Richard Sherman's words. Richard Sherman knows a thing or two about coaches, and I think the Jets shared an opinion, and that's why they gave Robert Saleh a 5-year deal.
You are reporting that Saleh is bringing with him 49ers passing game coordinator Mike LaFleur. Interesting, given the Jets situation at quarterback with Sam Darnold. What do you read into that move?
Here's what I would expect the New York Jets to do at quarterback this upcoming season, Kevin. And again, there'll be organizational meetings to discuss this, but I would think that Sam Darnold is going to return as the Jets quarterback, and the Jets will entertain offers at the number 2 pick. I think that they could sit there and take an offensive tackle. They could sit there and take a wide receiver. They could do whatever they want with that pick. But right now, I think the plan would be to proceed with Sam Darnold as the quarterback of the New York Jets in 2021. I think that Joe Douglas and this staff believe in him. Robert Saleh believes in him. And I think that they'd like to give Sam Darnold an opportunity for a full season when he's healthy with a new staff to see what he could do. I would be surprised if Sam Darnold were not the starting quarterback on opening day.
A Jets team that won just 2 games a season ago. Adam Schefter, sit tight. A lot more NFL news coming up here on SportsCenter. They have a lot of history in cleaning out that Jets head coach's office, right? Since 2000, Groh, Herm, Mangini, Rex, Bowles, Gase, now Saleh. 49ers were a top 5 team in defense in terms of opponent yards per game and yards per play. The Jets defense is ranked outside the top 10 in those categories. Also allowed the highest QBR in the NFL last season.
We do not have to be subtle about this at all. The last 3 years, the Jags have been awful. Tonight, they hire Urban Meyer as head coach to end the awfulness. Let us, Jacksonville reaching agreement with 3-time national championship coach. Hopes he has some Lombardi Trophy magic there. Meyer has never been on an NFL staff. Now he's got to put one together. How much it took to lure him out of retirement again? Bunch, not released. Certainly wasn't cheap. Long-term deal. Urban Meyer, 17 seasons. College head coach, Bowling Green, Utah, Florida, Ohio State. 187 wins, 32 losses. The Jags have lost 36 in the last 3 years. There have been several health, family-related stepaways from football in the profession. But again, the game has called him back. He says this is a great day for the Jacksonville and the Jaguars. Fans everywhere. Urban Meyer is who we want and need as a leader. I was reading Shad Khan's statement there. Here's Urban. He says, I go back to this. I've analyzed this decision from every angle. The time is right in Jacksonville. The time is right for me to return to coaching. I'm excited about the future of this organization and our long-term prospect for success. Of course, we're bringing in Adam Schefter here now. And Adam, no doubt the draft opportunities that Meyer mentions is quarterback Trevor Lawrence. But aside from a franchise quarterback, what drew these two sides together?
Listen, I think that there's been a relationship between Urban Meyer and Shad Khan, a healthy relationship where there's been open lines of communication for a good long while now. Aside from that, John, I think you've got the Jacksonville Jaguars with, as you mentioned, the number 1 overall pick and a chance to draft the player that some believe is a generational quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. You've got a team with 11 picks scheduled for the April draft. You've got a team with close to $100 million in salary cap space, depending on how you're analyzing the roster, at a time where the salary cap is going to be down and there's going to be more buying opportunities for teams than ever before in free agency. So if he was ever going to take a job at the NFL level, there couldn't be this many factors coming together all at once in front of him.
You talked about what he needed. How about on the other side? What have you heard? Because obviously, Meyer, a couple of times when he stepped away, this has been about my health. And what kind of assurances did the Jags need to hear that he was ready to go physically?
I think that this is what Urban Meyer believes. In college, when he'd lose, he'd go into a shell. He'd withdraw. He would disappear. But that was one loss that would essentially kill his school's hopes for a national championship. You could lose a game or 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 or 7 in the NFL and still come back and make the playoffs. If you play in the NFC East, you could lose 9 games and make the playoffs. But in this particular case, I think he thinks that he can accept the losing. And so with that being the case, he decides to make the jump, and Jacksonville gets somebody who brings instant credibility, brings the reputation. There's been talk about the Jaguars trying to get a new stadium. There's been talk about London. There's all sorts of topics out there. Well, guess what? Trevor Lawrence, Urban Meyer, a team that had been largely irrelevant, goes to being very relevant in the NFL very quickly.
During any coaching hire, power, personnel decisions become an issue. This is a guy who hasn't been in the NFL before. How are they looking at that? How are they structuring that within the organization?
John, when Urban Meyer goes and takes a job, he is the kingmaker. He is the kingpin. He is the guy that decides how things go. He's going to be the guy at the head of the organization, even though his title is head coach. He'll bring on a GM. He'll bring on assistants. He's begun to arrange to do all of that already. But he is the guy that's the face of the organization.
Finally, why do the Jags think they're getting Jimmy Johnson or Pete Carroll and maybe not Saban or Spurrier?
Because this is a man who's won 3 national championships in 4 stops. This is a man that's rebuilt college programs better and quicker than just about anybody. This is a man that's won wherever he's been and brought instant success. And this is a man I think that they believe can do the very same thing at the NFL level. Now, as you mentioned, there are mixed results at best of coaches who have jumped from college to the NFL, but Jacksonville knows Urban Meyer well enough to believe that this will work, and it certainly helps when you have all the ammunition that this franchise does.
And as you touched on it, he brings juice to that market and that team just like that. Adam Schefter on top of it with Urban Meyer and the Jags. Thanks.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.